All right. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This is your first appearance before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County. My name is Associate Judge Marcus Thorpe, and I will be presiding here this morning over this morning's hearing. Ladies and gentlemen, just a couple of things before we begin that I want to make sure that we are clear on. This is your first appearance. What that means is I am here to advise each and every one of you of what you have been charged with, what your bond amounts is, what your next court date will be. This is not the time to try your case or take a plea. And so I tell you that because each of you are potential witnesses to everyone else's case, as are the officers. And so I strongly advise each and every one of you that as I speak to you, please do not advise me anything about your case, what's either good about your case, what's bad about your case, or how you intend to proceed forward on your case. At this point, the best that you can do is to listen to what I have to say about where you are at this point. And then if you have questions about your bond or about being released, I'm happy to answer those questions. So again, you are here for the court to inform you of the charges against you, to advise you of your rights, to set bail, and to schedule you a preliminary hearing where one is allowed. And then finally, to advise you of whether or not you have the right to return. Let me remind you that each of you has the right to remain silent and say nothing, but should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding can be used against you. During this and all proceedings, you have the right to the presumption of innocence until the state proves your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to an indictment by the grand jury for felonies or by accusation of misdemeanor. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury. You have the right to see, hear, and cross-examine witnesses who are called to testify against you. The right to compel the attendance of witnesses in your own behalf by subpoena. The right to testify and offer other evidence in your own defense, should you choose to do so. But should you not, no presumption of guilt may be raised. And of course, you have the right to have an attorney represent you. At this point would be where I would do so either by court appointed or if you tell me that you want to hire your own attorney. Now, ladies and gentlemen, some of you today will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release from jail pending prosecution of your case. You can post bond either by cash, commercial, or property, which means, of course, cash using a debit card or cash. Finally, by property, if there is a person that you know that has at least 3 times the amount in equity of your bond. And so as an example that I use, if your bond today is $5,000, you would need for someone to bring down the deed or title to their property, and they have to have at least $15,000 in equity, which will be again 3 times that amount. And then the final way to post bond will be through a bonding company. Now, typically bonding companies will charge you anywhere from 12 to 50% plus any applicable fees. If you do go through a bonding company, any fees that you pay to that bonding company are non-refundable. If you post a cash bond, either you and or a family member or friend, that cash bond is held by the sheriff's office up and until such time as your case is concluded or closed, and then it can be returned to you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, some of you will have specific special conditions on your bond. I will tell you about those today. Please, again, this is about the second most important thing I can tell you other than not saying anything about your case. If your case has a special bond condition on it, whether that's to not have contact with someone or not to go to a particular property, please abide by that. Your failure to do so can result in additional charges being alleged against you, as well as a revocation of your current bond and up to a fine of $20,000 and 10 years in prison. Now, for family members who will assist you in posting bond, they will be provided information of your bond amount after we've concluded first appearance. If a family member is a victim on any of these warrants, and there's a special condition that you are to have no contact with that person, he or she cannot post bond for you. Now, some of you are... Some of you are charged with offenses for which the court is not authorized to set bond. In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a Superior Court judge, and you will be informed of that date here today. Also, if you are currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set a bond. Your bond, however, can be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to determine if they wish to file a warrant for VOP, usually during your prelim. Now, the purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine if there is enough evidence or probable cause to justify keeping you detained until such time as your case goes to trial. There are some of you that are charged with felonies and some of you that are just charged with misdemeanors. For those of you charged with felonies, I will automatically set a preliminary hearing date for you. For those of you that are charged with misdemeanors, you will have an option. Option number one would be to waive that preliminary hearing, which means your case will go directly to the prosecutor's office and your case will move a lot quicker. You get to your arraignment date a lot quicker. And if you choose to resolve your case, you'll be able to do it a lot faster. Now, if you don't want to waive it and you do want to have that preliminary hearing because you want the officer to come to court and tell the judge what kind of evidence they have against you, I can set that date for you and I will do so here today. That date, if you are charged with a misdemeanor, will be January 17th of 2023 via Zoom at 8:30 a.m. So again, for those of you charged with misdemeanors, I will ask whether you want to, one, waive that hearing, which you have a right to do so and will move your case along quicker, or if you would like to go ahead and have me set that preliminary date for you. Now, if I could have everybody please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give here this morning in the first appearance here on 12/25/22 will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God? And if it is, if I could have everyone say, I do. All right, thank you. Now we're going to, of course, begin with the ladies I see here up front. First up, I have Miss Angel Anita Brightwell. Okay, are you Miss Brightwell? Okay, Your Honor, Ms. Brightwell, you are charged with failure to yield while turning a left, no insurance, and possession of a Schedule I controlled substance. As to the failure to yield, your bond is $500, no insurance, $1,000, and the VGSA, $1,500. And that's a total of $3,000 for your bond. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, ma'am?
I don't know. I was told that I was going to be able to sign my own bond.
Well, we here in Clayton County do not do OR bonds. Do you want the court to assign you a court-appointed attorney, or are you going to hire your own attorney?
The court to sign me a court-appointed attorney.
Okay. And I see you are currently not working. Is that correct? Is that correct, ma'am? You're not working?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then as far as your preliminary hearing, would you like to set that hearing or waive it?
Waive it.
Okay. So what's going to happen, ma'am, if you make bond, you will receive a notice as to your next court date. It'll be mailed to that last known address that you have on file here currently with the sheriff's office, okay? All right, good luck to you, man. Next, I have Miss Shamika Butter.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Butter. How are you this morning?
I'm hanging in there. Thank you.
Ms. Butter, after review of the warrant that was provided to me this morning, I have dismissed both of your charges. You were initially charged with simple battery and theft by shoplifting. However, there were some issues with the warrants and the way that they were done. And so as of today, ma'am, your case has been dismissed. Now, that doesn't mean that the sheriff's office, the police officers cannot come back and charge you at a later time. Okay, the police and or the solicitor's office could decide to do that. But as of right now, your case is dismissed and you will be processed and released sometime later today, okay?
Okay, I'll be at the library.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
Yes, ma'am. Next up, if I could have Miss Capathia Matasha Johnson. Are you Miss Johnson?
Morgan?
Is that correct? Okay. Ms. Johnson, you are charged with 2 counts here, 1 count of battery, 1 count of criminal damage in the 2nd degree. Your bond amount as to the criminal damage is $3,000. And as to the battery, that charge has been dismissed, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So you have 1 remaining charge. Now, you do have special conditions. That is to stay away from that address, 1102 Summer Court Drive in Jonesboro. If, ma'am, that's where you live or you have items there, please, upon your release, contact the sheriff's office and they can escort you there to get some items up and until such time as either this case is resolved or you get this bond modified, okay? Now, let me ask you this. Would you like the court to set you, to obtain a court-appointed attorney, or do you want to hire your own?
The court appointed, please.
Okay. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, ma'am?
Yes, sir, I think so.
All right. Based on, ma'am, what you provided here, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So I have gone ahead and done that for you. Now, the one remaining charge you do have is a criminal damage. That is a felony. So as of right now, your next court date is going to be January 18th of 2023, okay? All right, ma'am. Do you have any other questions?
That's all, Lord.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. You have a good day. Merry Christmas. All right, I have up next Miss Kathy Wynn live. Miss Live.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ma'am, you are charged with one count of simple battery family violence as a misdemeanor. Your bond is in the amount of $3,500. You also have special conditions to stay away from Mr. Antonio, and then also to stay away from the address 6147, I believe it's Landover Circle in Morrow. If that's where you live, ma'am, as I told the young lady before you, please contact the sheriff's office and they will escort you there so that you can get any items that belong to you so as not to violate this bond. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you believe you'll make bond, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Do you want the court to appoint you an attorney, or are you going to hire your own?
Appoint me an attorney.
And how much do you earn per month, ma'am?
I'm sorry?
How much do you earn per month? Do you work?
I do work, yes.
Okay, and how much do you earn a month?
Like about 2,500.
Okay, do you have any children? Okay. What I'm going to do, ma'am, based on what you provided, I'm going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney. If you make bond, or regardless of whether you make bond, the attorney will be in contact with you from the public defender's office. Let me ask you, do you want to set your preliminary hearing date, or do you want to waive that date, ma'am?
Waive it.
All right. All right, ma'am, I believe that's all I have for you. Do you have any questions of me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And I believe Miss Demario Mays is already bonded out.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Are you Miss Morgan, Brandi Morgan? Okay, good morning, Miss Morgan. How are you?
How are you?
Doing well, ma'am. Now, as to your case, Miss Morgan, you are charged with one count of simple battery. Your bond is in the amount of $2,000. And I'm going to ask Miss Morgan that you stay away from the alleged victim, looks to be Miss Angela Banks. And then you also stay away from the address here, 5174 Riverdale Road. That was the McDonald's where this alleged accident or incident happened, okay? And that's okay. If you don't know this person, that I'm going by what the warrant has. So you don't have, if you don't know who they are, then you shouldn't have any contact with them, okay? All right, so ma'am, right now your bond is $2,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want the court to consider you for court appointment, or do you want to hire your own?
Court appointed is fine.
Okay, based on the information you provided, ma'am, I am gonna appoint you a court-appointed attorney. And then finally, as to your first appearance, as to your preliminary, would you like to waive it or have set that hearing date?
I want to set the hearing date. I want to be able to see what's going on.
Okay.
Is that?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. So that date is going to be for you January 17th of 2023. It's going to be at 8:30 a.m. and that also is going to be via Zoom, okay?
Awesome, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So again, as I've told everyone, if you are released, you'll get notice of that date, but you do know that court date. Well, excuse me, if you bond out, you actually waive that preliminary hearing date. If you don't, you of course, with your attorney, will appear via Zoom for that date, okay? All right, any questions, ma'am?
Well, that's it.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Miss Glendale Patrick.
Yeah.
Good morning, Ms. Patrick. Ma'am, you are charged with one count of unlawful conduct during a 911 call. Your bond is in the amount of $2,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
No.
I'm going to, based on the information you provided, go ahead and assign you a court-appointed attorney, okay?
Yes.
Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing or set that preliminary hearing date?
Today.
So yes,
I'm
ma'am.
just
So you
saying.
have an option right now. You can either waive your next court date, which means your case will get to the prosecutor a little faster if you waive that date, or you can set that date and we can have that hearing. That's where the police officer has to come to court and he's got to tell the judge if he's got enough evidence to continue your case forward. Okay, it's not a trial, but he's got to show the court what kind of evidence he has. Do you want to have that hearing or do you want to waive that hearing?
I want to wait that here.
Okay.
See, I really don't. It's not public offender. I'm hard to understand.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. Well, you know, part of that is, I mean, that's what your attorney that's been assigned to your case is going to help you with, okay? So right now, since you've waived that hearing, if you make bond, your next court date will come to you at your last known address. If you don't make bond, when the attorney comes to see you in custody, he'll advise you of when your next court date is, okay?
Yeah.
All right, ma'am. Good luck to you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Up next, I have Miss Leticia. I believe it's Lucindura. How are you, Miss Leticia?
Yes.
Miss Leticia, you charged with 2 counts, 1 count of simple battery, family violence, 1 count of simple assault. Your bond is in the total amount of $5,000, $2,500 for each count. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, ma'am?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You said 500
Yes, ma'am.
for each, so it's
Yes,
a total of 5. Okay. I could try.
Okay. Now, as far as you do have special conditions that are to stay away from this individual that's alleged to be the victim, Mr. Brian Kelly, and to also stay away from the address of 6569 Homestead Road here in Clayton County. If that's where you live or you have any items there, please contact the sheriff's office prior to going over there so they can escort you so that there's no further issue with this alleged victim, Mr. Kelly. Do you understand that? Okay, because that could result in any future charges down the road. Now, based on the information you provided, ma'am, would you like a court-appointed attorney or you want to hire your own?
Court.
Okay, so I am going to go ahead and appoint you an attorney. And then finally, do you want to waive your preliminary hearing or would you like to set that date?
I think I'd like to set the date.
Okay. So that next date is going to be January 17th of 2023 at 8:30 a.m. Now, as I told the young lady before you, should you make bond, that date is automatically waived and you'll get your next court date by mail. If you don't make bond, then when your attorney comes to see you, you and he will discuss that date and, discuss that court date and you will appear via Zoom. Do you understand, ma'am? Do you have any questions?
So, I mean, this is my house. I'm not allowed to go to my house. I mean,
As of right now, no, ma'am. But if you, as to, whether that could be modified or changed, what I would suggest to you is when you are appointed an attorney to speak to the attorney and he can work on that, okay? All right, ma'am. Thank you very much. Okay. Last I have up Miss Asiana Christine Williams. Good morning, Miss Williams.
Good morning.
Ms. Williams, you're charged with driving with a suspended license and giving a false name. After reviewing the warrant, Ms. Williams, I have dismissed the false name charge. That leaves you with 1 count of driving with suspended license. Your bond amount is a total of $1,500. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes.
Okay. Based on the information that you provided, Ms. Williams, you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So if you'd like to, you're going to have to hire your own. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. And then finally, as to your preliminary hearing, would you like to have that hearing or waive it?
Waive it.
Okay, so what's gonna happen then, ma'am? Your next court date, when it comes, you'll receive a letter by mail to the last known address that we have on file for you with the sheriff. And they'll advise you of what that court date is, should you make bond, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, ma'am, thank you, and good luck to you, and Merry Christmas.
All right, you too, thank you. Merry Christmas.
Get quick, come on, get quick. Come on, baby.
All right, next up, I have Mr. Tyrone Garland Oliver Bailey. Are you Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Bailey, you are charged with battery, criminal trespass, and pointing a pistol at another. Mr. Bailey, your bond is in the amount of $21,000 total. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
To be honest, man, I was hoping to get my own reconnaissance. I don't
No,
think I
sir.
would be able to.
No, sir, that is
Okay.
not an option. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
I can try.
Okay. As far as special conditions, sir, you are to stay away from this alleged victim, Jerry Brown. You're also to stay away from this address, 4871A1 Courtney Drive in Forest Park. Sir, if you live there, you have any items there, please contact the sheriff's office should you make bond so that you can retrieve those items unless this bond is modified. Do you understand that? So you are not to go back to that property unless and until such time as either your case is disposed of or this bond is modified. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you believe, sir, that you'll be able to make bond?
Yeah, I can. The stipulations of it, she wouldn't be able to post it for me, right?
No, sir, she will not.
So I would have to get like somebody else, just like
That's
a family
correct.
member.
That's correct. Yes, sir. Do you want the court to appoint an attorney for you, or would you like to hire your own?
Yeah, you can give me a court appointed one.
Okay, and based on the information you provided, sir, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so I am gonna go ahead and hire one for you, or excuse me, appoint one for you. So if you make bond, of course, they will contact you, and then you'll also be advised of where and when that next court date will be. Should you not make bond, of course, any conversations you have coming up with your attorney will be via Clayton County Jail. Now, you're charged with all misdemeanors here. Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing as I discussed earlier, or would you like to set that date?
Oh, that's fine.
Which
You
one?
can
Waive? Set the date? Okay. So that next court date, sir, is going to be January 17th of 2023 at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom, okay?
Yes.
Now, again, remember, if you make bond, excuse me, that date is automatically waived. So keep an eye out in the mail for your next court date, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. Next, I have Mr. Flynnard Bentley. Mr. Bentley, you're charged with one count of battery. Your bond is in the amount of $3,500. You are to stay away from the alleged victim, Miss Asia Abraham, as well as the address of 5890 Riverdale Road. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about that portion of it?
No, so I don't get an OR or anything?
No, sir, we do not do those here in Clayton County.
Okay, all right.
Now, as I've advised those before you who have that same type of charge, if for some reason you live at this address and you have items there that you need to retrieve, please contact the sheriff's office and they will assist you in going to that address to get those things until such time as your case is resolved or your bond is modified. Do you understand that?
I mean, modified is when I pay, you mean? Or?
No, bond modification would happen if you or an attorney go before a judge seeking to change the bond. So in some way, maybe to no longer have a no contact order with this person and to be allowed on that property without the help of a sheriff. Okay, do you understand that, sir? Okay, now as far as your bonds, $3,500, do you believe you'll be able to make that bond?
I don't, but I'm gonna make some calls. I'm gonna make some calls when I leave.
As far as a court-appointed attorney, do you want an attorney or do you want me to hire one for you, appoint one for you? Do you believe you'll be able to hire your own?
Appoint one for me.
What type of work do you do?
I'm actually a contractor. I do demolition and things like that.
So right now, things are a little slow. I assume.
Actually, I came down here to visit family, actually. You know what I'm saying? Came to visit real quick and for the holidays. I actually just had a good visit yesterday. So I just came to visit. I'm actually don't even work down here continuously.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and hire a court-appointed attorney for you, sir. Again, if you make bond, regardless of whether you do or don't, they will be in touch with you regarding your case. Now, Mr. Bentley, you're charged with a misdemeanor. As I was explaining before, you have the option to either waive that hearing, which moves your case along a little faster, or I can set that court date for you. Which would you like to do, sir?
So what happens if I waive it?
If you waive it, so you don't get a preliminary hearing, which means your case will go immediately to the solicitor's office for review, and they will set you what is called an arraignment date, likely a much quicker than you would if you don't waive it and you have the hearing.
No, I have the hearing.
Okay, so sir, I'm gonna go ahead and set that hearing date for you, and that's going to be January 17th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. Now, again, remember, if you make bond, that court date will be extinguished, and you will get the new court date via whatever address that we have on file for you at the sheriff's office here in Clayton County. Do you understand? All right, thank you, sir. Next, I have Mr. Devin Bynum. Good morning, Mr. Bynum. Mr. Bynum, you are charged with theft by receipt of stolen property and fleeing from a police officer. Your bond amount for the theft by receiving is $5,000. The fleeing from police officer has been dismissed based on insufficient information provided by the officer who provided the affidavit. So you have one remaining count, sir. Do you understand that?
No, sir. How many felonies am I charged with at the moment?
You are charged with theft by receipt of stolen property. You are charged with fleeing from a police officer, and you are also charged with possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. So the only one remaining, or two remaining, are theft by receipt of stolen property and then the possession of a firearm. So I want to thank you for correcting me. So it's $5,000 for the theft by receiving. And then finally, for the possession of a firearm, that is going to be $8,000. And so that's going to be for a total of $13,000 on your bond. Okay, do you understand that? Do you understand, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, my question to you is, do you believe you'll be able to make that bond?
Not yet.
Okay.
Or anytime.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead. Do you want to hire your own attorney, or do you want a court-appointed attorney?
Can you provide one for me, please?
Okay, so I am going to sign that based on the information you provided. Now, because you are charged with felonies here, you are going to have a preliminary hearing date coming up. That is going to be January 18th of 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Do you understand that, sir? All right. If you don't have any other questions, sir, good luck to you.
One more, please. When am I going to be able to talk to my court
So
appointed?
I don't have that information. I mean, they're pretty quick about that. I suspect you'll probably hear from them within the next week. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, I have Mr. Tamel Scott Cameron. Mr. Cameron, you are charged with one count of obstruction of an officer and one count of trafficking in marijuana. Your bond is in the total amount of $102,000. $2,000 for the obstruction and $100,000 for trafficking in marijuana. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir? Okay. As far as your job, what type of work do you do, sir?
Regular B-level funerals and the Cab County Medical Examiner.
I can barely hear you. Can you speak up a little?
Work for the funeral home and the Cab County Medical Office, Examiner's Office. I remove bodies.
Okay, about how much do you earn per month?
Like 4,000.
All right. Based on that information that you provided, sir, you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So you will have to hire your own if you so choose. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, now you are charged with a felony. What that means is, sir, that your next upcoming court date is going to be your preliminary hearing. That is going to be 1/18/23 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that? Do you have any questions about anything, sir?
Sir, I must say that, no, I don't.
I
You said the
can,
bond is
102,000 is the bond, 102,000. Okay? All right, sir, good luck to you. Next up, I have Mr. Brian Kaplan. Good morning, Mr. Kaplan. You are charged with 1 count of reckless conduct and 1 count of criminal damage in the 2nd degree. Your total bond is $10,000, $5,000 for each, excuse me. You are charged, one of those counts is a felony. It means your next court date is going to be January 18th of 2023. That's at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
yes,
Now, again, your bond amount is $10,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Do you want to hire your own attorney, or do you want the court to appoint you one?
I'll hire him on the tour.
Okay.
I'll hire.
Yes, sir. I got you. Thank you so much. Next up, I have Mr. Malcolm Giddens. Good morning, Mr. Giddens.
Hey, good morning.
You are charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. Your bond is in total amount of $2,000. You have special conditions, sir. That's to stay away from Miss Whitney Giddens and also the address of 8125 Attleboro Drive. If that is where you reside, sir, please, if you have items there that you need to get before your bond is either modified or your case is resolved or dismissed, please contact the sheriff's office if you make bond, and they'll escort you there to get any items that belong to you, okay?
Sir.
All right, now, do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently working?
Yes, sir.
And you're making about $5,200 a month, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, now based on that, sir, you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney. I'm not sure if you want to hire your own or not, but you do not qualify. So if you'd like an attorney moving forward, you will have to hire your own. Do you understand that?
Sure.
Now, as far as your preliminary hearing date, since you're only charged with a misdemeanor, you have an option to waive it or to set that date. What would you like to do?
I would like to, if I waive it, I got no opportunity to talk on my end.
If you waive it, your case will move a little faster because you won't have an extra court date. If you don't waive it, we'll set your preliminary hearing date where the officer's got to come in and tell the judge what kind of evidence he has.
No, I'll waive it. I'll waive it.
All right. All right, sir. So should you make bond, the court date, your new court date will be sent to you via mail. If you don't make bond, your attorney, when you do hire an attorney, will contact you and advise you what that date is, okay? Good luck to you, sir. Next up, I have Mr. J. Haven Good. Hello, sir.
How you doing?
You were initially charged with 5 counts. Possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime, loitering and prowling, giving a false name, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and financial transaction card fraud. After my review of your warrant, the 2 felony charges, possession of a weapon and financial transaction card, have been dismissed. You have 3 remaining counts, all misdemeanors. Your total bond is going to be in the amount of $4,000, sir. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, sir, correct.
Okay. Now, as far as an attorney, do you want the court to hire an attorney or do you want your own?
You can hire one, yes, you can hire one.
Now, you only have misdemeanors remaining. So do you want me to set a preliminary hearing date or do you want to waive that hearing date?
I got a question. So, like, if I waive it, will I be able to talk to them, like talk about the case?
So if you want to waive that hearing, well, let me say this, regardless of whether you waive the hearing or not, you will have the opportunity to speak to your lawyer about it that's been appointed for you. If you have that hearing, that means you and your lawyer will have a hearing in about 2.5 to 3 weeks together. And the judge will have to listen to you, and the judge will listen to the other side, present evidence. It's not a trial, but it's like a mini trial. The police officer's got to tell the court what kind of evidence he has against you. And if the court doesn't believe it's enough, it can be dismissed right there. The good thing is it can be dismissed early. The bad thing is you may have to sit tight till that court date comes.
Well, that's if I waive it or keep it.
That's if you keep it. If you waive it and you make bond, you'll get that court date in the mail. If you waive it and you don't make bond, then you'll just be waiting on the solicitor's office to set your arraignment date, which is usually quicker.
Shit. Oh, waive it.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and I've checked the waiver for you, sir. If you make bond, you will get notice of that court date via mail. If you do not, of course, your attorney will advise you what date you have been selected for, okay? All right, good luck to you, sir. You, Mr. Demario Hampton. Good morning, Mr. Hampton. You are charged with no license, improper lane change, driving with a. You're also charged with driving with a suspended license and hit and run. Sir, I'm going to, give me 1 second here.
Okay.
Okay. So your total bond amount, sir, is going to be $4,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to hire your own attorney or a court-appointed attorney?
I don't want to hire attorney.
Okay. Now, you are charged with all misdemeanors, sir, so you will have the right to a preliminary hearing, or you can waive that hearing. What would you like to do, sir?
Waive it.
All right, so should you make bond, sir, you'll get notice of your next court date. If you don't, you'll get advised of that by the sheriff's office if you're still in custody. Thank you and good luck, sir. Next up, I have Mr. Eric Kent. Mr. Kent, good morning. You are charged with 2 counts, violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act and transaction of drug-related objects in the total bond amount of $4,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you want to hire your own attorney or do you want the court to appoint you one?
A court-appointed attorney.
Okay. Based on the information you provided, sir, you do qualify for one. Now, you're only charged with misdemeanors. Excuse me. One of your counts is a felony, which means that your next court date, sir, is already set for you. That's going to be January 18th of 2023 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that? And that's
Yes,
going to be
sir.
your preliminary hearing day. Good luck to you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Next up, I have Mr. Tory Lamar. Mr. Lamar, you're charged with 1 count of driving with suspended license and knowingly driving a motor vehicle with a canceled registration. Your total bond is $2,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond? Okay. Do you want the court to appoint you an attorney or do you want to hire your own? You don't think you need one?
I'm not gonna hire him.
Okay. All right. So now you are charged with misdemeanor, sir. So you have the right to either waive your preliminary hearing or to have it. What would you like to do?
Waive it.
Should you make bond then, sir, you'll be notified via mail of your next court date. Good luck to you, sir.
Well, you happy holiday.
Next up, I have Mr. Tomas Ramos. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You are charged with 1 count of simple battery. Your bond is in the amount of $2,500. You do have special conditions, and that's to stay away from Miss Annette Sierra, as well as the address of 2826 Wand Crest Drive. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If that's where you live, sir, as I've advised everyone else, please contact the sheriff's office, and they will advise you and escort you to that address if there are items you need to retrieve until such time as either your bond is modified or your case is resolved. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, again, your bond is 2,500. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to hire your own attorney, or do you want the court to appoint you one?
If the court appoint me one, but later on I get my own.
Yes, you can always do that. Yes, sir.
Okay, then let the court appoint me.
Okay. And then finally, and you do qualify, so I will go ahead and do that. And then finally, sir, as to your preliminary hearing date, you have the right to waive that hearing or have that hearing. How would you like to proceed?
What's the preliminary hearing
Yeah.
about?
Yes, sir. So the preliminary hearing, again, is where the officer is required to come to court and he has to show the judge what kind of evidence he has against you. It's not your trial, but if you are successful and the judge agrees there's not enough evidence, your case can be dismissed. So that's the good thing. It happens early. The bad thing is you'll have to sit tight for about 2.5 to 3 weeks until that happens. If, however, you make bond quicker and you'd like the case to move along quicker and get a quicker court date, you would waive that hearing. Okay?
I'll have the hearing.
All right, so your hearing, sir, will be set for January 17th of 2023 at 8:30 a.m. and that'll be via Zoom. Now remember, if you make bond, however, sir, that hearing is waived. Do you understand that?
Say that again?
If you make bond, that hearing is waived. So even though we set that date, if you do make your bond, that hearing is waived, and then your new court date will be mailed to you.
Oh, okay. Well, I am gonna make more.
All right, so if you're not gonna make it, then as waiving it, your next court, well, if you don't make bond, your next court date will be January 17th, okay?
Right.
All
Okay.
right, thank you.
Yeah.
Is Mr. Sanchez the one we'll need the interpreter?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so we'll hold off on him. Are you Mr. Augustine? Oh, excuse me, I apologize. Let me get to, are you Mr. Christian Suarez?
Sir.
All right, so Mr. Suarez, you are charged with driving under the influence less safe, DUI less safe, improper lane change, and driving too fast for conditions. Your total bond is in the amount of $5,000, sir. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you want the court to appoint your attorney, or are you gonna hire your own?
I'll hire my own.
Now, you are charged with all misdemeanors here, sir. So you have the right to set a preliminary hearing date or to waive that hearing date. What would you like to do?
I'll go ahead and waive it.
All right. So as I've told everyone then, sir, should you make bond, what'll happen is you'll get that next court date via mail. If you don't, then of course you'll be advised of that court date either by your attorney when you hire him or by the sheriff's office. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, I have Mr. Christopher Watson.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Mr. Watson, you are charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, 1 count of terroristic threat. Your criminal trespass bond amount is $2,500. I have denied you bond as to your terroristic threat. According to the information that I have, sir, you're currently on probation at the commission of this terroristic threat. Do you understand that? So I am not permitted to give you a bond on that.
I'm not on any type of program.
Okay.
Probation.
Well, and unfortunately, the information I have says otherwise. So at the moment, I'm going to deny your bond under the Georgia law. Now, do you want to hire your own attorney, or are you going to obtain a court-appointed attorney?
I'm going to appoint an attorney.
Okay. So you do qualify, sir? Now, if in fact, of course, that I am incorrect and your information is incorrect, that's all the more reason to have an attorney to review that information, and he can modify your bond at a later time. Do you understand that? Yes, sir?
No, sir, I don't understand.
So right now, I have not given you a bond as to your terroristic threat charge. And I know you said you're not on probation. Part of that is that,
right,
you now have a court-appointed attorney. So that attorney will be the one to help you sort of clear that up. But as of right now, the information I have says you are on probation. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. And that attorney, don't worry, that attorney will work with you and they'll clear it up. But for right now, because you are charged with a felony terroristic threat, You already have a new court date. The new court date is going to be January 18th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Your attorney has been appointed for you, so expect to hear from them in the next week. And anything you want to provide for them, you can do so at that time, okay? All right, thank you, sir. Good luck to you. Now, I believe that leaves us with Mr. Sanchez.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, give me one moment. I'm gonna call the land.
Yes, Your Honor. She was in intake. The infirmary is Johnson. The one in the infirmary, last name is Johnson.
Here. Or it's not my client, but it's one of the inmates.
I will be your interpreter. What would you like me to ask him?
Yes, sir. If you would just first introduce yourself to him.
Buen día. Seré su intérprete de español para ayudarle en la llamada. Es un orgullo servirles.
Gracias. Buen día.
Can you hear him, sir, or does he need to speak up?
I cannot hear him right now.
Okay. Please ask him to speak up. Okay.
Por favor, ¿podría subir el volumen de su voz? No le puedo escuchar.
Hola, buenos días.
Were you able to hear him there, sir?
Yes, I heard him.
Okay. Now, can you please advise him that he has been charged with 3 criminal counts, and the first is theft by receiving property.
The first one is what?
Theft by receiving of stolen property. So here
right now, or should I wait for the other 2 criminals?
No. Go ahead and tell him that. I was going to break it up for you.
All right. Disculpe, señor. Usted ha sido cargado por 3 cargos criminales. El primero sería que debe encontrado propiedad robada ilícita.
Your second charge is being in possession of a firearm while under the influence of alcohol. Go ahead.
All right. El segundo cargo sería de encontrarle en posesión un arma de fuego mientras estaba en la influencia del alcohol.
And then your final count is a charge of reckless conduct.
Reckless conduct, right?
Yes, sir.
Y tercer cargo y último sería un cargo por conducta malintencionada.
Okay. Now, your total bond amount is $4,500. Do you believe you will be able to make bond, sir?
Señor, en este momento, el total que tiene que pagar por estos cargos sería de $4,000. ¿Usted se ve apto para realizar este pago?
Sí.
Next, can you ask? Okay, great. Next, can you ask him, does he want me to appoint an attorney to discuss his case with him, or does he want to hire a court-appointed attorney?
Señor, ¿le gustaría que le agendemos un abogado oficial o usted preferiría obtener su propio abogado para realizar sus propios contraargumentos?
Yo puedo tomar un abogado.
Disculpe, ¿podría repetir eso?
Puedo tomar un abogado.
I can take an attorney.
Please tell him I have appointed him an attorney, and that attorney will come with him and discuss with him how his case will proceed. And that as of right now, his next court date will be January 17th of 2023 at 8:30 a.m.
Excuse me, could you repeat the time?
8:30 a.m., January 17th of 2023.
Okay, understood. Muy bien, señor. Se le ha agendado un abogado para que de esa manera revisar y ver cómo va a proceder su caso. En este momento, su siguiente día para que asista a la corte sería el 17 de enero de 2023 a las 8:30 de la mañana.
Ok, perfecto.
All right. Can you please ask him, does he have any questions for me?
Señor, ¿usted tiene alguna pregunta para el juez?
Puedo preguntar si el bono tengo que pagar todo hoy o puedo pagarlo en diferentes.
When do I have to pay? When do I have to make the overall payment? Do I have to pay it right now, or can I make it in a small payment?
It has to be all at one time.
Tiene que ser todo en una sola cuota.
Ok, está bien, gracias.
All right. Please tell him I said thank you and good luck, and I have nothing further.
Señor, muchas gracias y buena suerte. Ya no tenemos ningún asunto que hablar.
Gracias.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, Your Honor, that's solemn, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Merry Christmas. You all have a good one.
Thanks, Your Honor, you too.
Bye-bye.